Alrighty guys, let's keep going with our semester exam review. We're going to start with number 21, and it wants us to write 7/9 as a decimal. Well, we have to remember something when we are converting fractions to decimals. Remember, that's what we talked about when we said cowboy up. Right? The cowboy goes inside the house, and the horse stays out on the hitching post. Okay? So, for this one, it would be horse stays outside at the hitching post, and the cowboy goes inside. And the way I put that into my calculator, because I know that, let me play that out. I know that this is just a division problem, right? 7/9 is the same as 7 divided by 9, and that's exactly how I put it in the calculator. 7 divided by 9 equals 0.777777777777. Now, you'll notice on this calculator, I have an 8 down here at the end. That's just because they ran out of rooms for all the 7s, and the next place value would have rounded it up. So they just rounded it. But when you see something like this, that's going to be a repeating decimal. Okay, so this becomes 0.7777, on and on and on, and we write that as 0.7 with the repeater bar over the top. Okay, so that's going to be question B. All right. Number 22, which of the following is equivalent to 0.875? Well, if I read that properly, this is my tenths place, my hundredths place, and my thousandths place. So that's actually 875 thousandths. So 875 thousandths. Okay, so let's see. What do I know goes into both of those? Well, I know that 25 will go into both of them. So if I have 875 divided by 25, I get 35. And 1,000 divided by 25, and I get 40. All right, that can reduce farther. My greatest common factor between these guys is going to be 5. So 35 divided by 5 gives me 7, and 40 divided by 5 gives me 8. So that's 7/8, and that will not reduce any farther. And if I look at my answers, my answer choices, my answer to this one would be C. All right? All right. Daxton is converting the fraction 2/3 to a decimal. His work is shown below. What error did he make? What did he not do? He didn't cowboy up, did he? That should have been the horse stays at the hitching post and the cowboy goes inside. Should have written it this way. Brought his decimal point up. 3 goes into 2. 0 times 3 goes into 20. What, 8 times? 6 times. 6, which is 18, which gives him a 2. Bring down the 0. That's going to be a repeater. That's what his work should have looked like. Okay? All right, let's move on to number 24. Number 24, place the fraction in the correct column in the chart. Is it a repeating decimal or a terminating decimal? Well, let's find out. 4 divided by 9. That's 4. So that is a repeating decimal. So 4/9 is going to go here. Okay? So let's do 3/8. 3 divided by 8. That's 0.375, and then it stops. So 3/8 equals 0.375. All right, so we did that one. Let's do 3/5. 3 divided by 5. 3 divided by 5. I also know that 3/5 is the same as 6/10, which is written as 0.6. So that's a terminating decimal. 1/3. That's one of those that we should already know, but let's look at it. 1 divided by 3 is 0.333333333333333333333333333333. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. The 3's don't stop. It's a repeating decimal because the 3's don't stop. All right, let's do 17 divided by 20. Yeah, it gives me 0.85. All right, so 17 out of 20 is a 0.85. So if you got 17 problems correct on a 20-question test, you get an 85%, which is what? A B. Yay! All right, let's do 6/7. 6 divided by 7. Oh, yuck. 857,142. 857. I have a feeling that's 857,142. Repeating, repeating, repeating. So 6/7 equals 0.857142, and this whole series repeats. Yeesh. Okay. All right, moving on. I'm going to get out some notebook paper for some of these because there's not a whole lot of workspace on here. So let's look at this one right here. Simplify the expression. So this is number 25. Simplify the expression, the quantity 100 plus 4z times 20. All right. Well, I know I have to take this 20 and I have to distribute it to both things inside, right? So this becomes 20 times 100, which is 2,000, plus 20 times 4z is 80z. Bam, that's it. I guess I had room for that one on the paper. All right. So it's giving me a multiple choice here for this one, but I just want to look at the problem and work it out. So let's look at number 26. 26. I have 3/4 times the quantity 2x minus 8. Okay? Here's another one that I have to use distributive property for. Gotta go there, and I gotta go there. So 3/4 times 2x, so this becomes 3/4 times 2x minus 3/4 times 8. So this is 3/4 times 2x over 1 minus 3/4 times 8 over 1. Okay. I know these will cross cancel, so this becomes 2. And these will cross cancel, and that becomes 2. So this becomes 3 times, that becomes 3x over 2 minus 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so let's look at our answer choices after we've done the problem. 3/2 x minus 6, 3/2 x minus 8, 3/8 x minus 3. Whoa, I don't even know where they got C and D. Holy moly, I don't even know where those came from. Oh yeah, I do. I see what they did. Ew, no, don't do that. I'm not even going to tell you what they did because it'll confuse you more. Let's not do that. Okay, so 3x divided by 2 is the same as 3/2 x. minus 6. So that's going to be A. Oh, and we said this one was 2,000 plus ABZ. All right. Let's look at number 27. 27 is 0.2 times the quantity, 1.4 minus 3x plus 1.3x. All right, so again, I have to use my distributive property and distribute that 0.2 into all the quantities inside. So I'm going to have 0.2. Oops, you can't see my calculator. There we go. 0.2 times 1.4, which gives me 0.28. Minus 0.2 times 3 is going to be 0.6x plus 1.3x. Okay. Oops, that's not 2x. That's 0.28. So I have negative 0.6x plus 1.3x plus, because this is a positive sign here, 0.28. Okay? So I have negative 0.6 plus 1.3 gives me 0.7x plus 0.28. So that's my answer for number 27. That one's going to be 0.7x plus 0.28. Okay? All right, 28. I'm going to do number 28 right here. And this is 1/3 of 9x minus 15 minus 2x. Okay, I'm going to move this up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So this is going to be another one, still using distributive property. And remember, when I multiply by 1/3, it's the same as dividing by 3, right? Okay, so I could look at this and go, 9x divided by 3 gives me what? It gives me 3x minus 15 divided by 3 is 5 minus 2x. Now I'm going to regroup it so I can combine like terms. So I have 3x minus 2x minus 5. 3x minus 2x is x minus 5. Look at that. That's letter C. Okay, number 29. It wants me to factor completely 3/4 A. Oops. Yeah, 3/4 A minus 9/20. Okay, so I'm going to do this one on the notebook paper too. Remember, when we factor something out, we have to find the greatest common factor between them. So I have 3/4 and I have 9/20. So I need to find something that they both have in common. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write my factors of 9 and my factors of 3. My factors of 3 are 1 and 3. My factors of 9 are 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. Okay. So then my factors of 4, they're 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. And my factors of 20 are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. So now what I have to do is I have to find their greatest common factor. So what's the biggest number that they have in common here? Well, they've got 3's here. And what's the greatest common factor that the 4 and the 20 have? That's going to be 4. So I know that I can pull a 3 out of the numerator and a 4 out of the denominator. So I can rewrite this as 3/4 times A minus 3/4. 3/4 times what gives me 9/20? Well, that's going to be 3/5, right? I have my 3 and my 5 left. Okay? So now I'm going to take that common number that they have here, the 3/4. Okay? I'm going to pull that out. Okay? And after I pull that out, I have 3/4 times whatever is left inside. Well, this is A, my operation sign, and my 3/5. Okay? And I can check that by redoing my distributive property. 3/4 times A is 3/4 A, and 3/4 times 3/5 is 9/20. Okay? So our answer to number 29 is 3/4 A minus 3/5, which is letter D. Okay? All right, so number 30. Completely factor. Write this one out. I'm going to completely factor 6C plus 24. All right, I'm doing this one on notebook paper too. So again, I have to write out my factors of 6 and my factors of 24. So my factors of 6 are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. My factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 4 and 6. What's my greatest common factor between them? Well, that's going to be my 6, right? So I can rewrite this as 6 times C plus 6 times 4. Then I'm going to pull out what they have in common. So I'm pulling out the 6, and that leaves me with C plus 4. Okay, C plus 4. So 6, this becomes 6 times C plus 4. And that's my answer for number 30. Okay, so number 31. Whew, number 31. Match the equivalent expressions. So what's my greatest common factor between 9 and 12? So if we come over here and we say 9x minus 12. Now, I know that my greatest common factor is 9, right? No, that's not right. It's 3. Because 3 times 3, this becomes 3 times x. And this becomes 3 times 4. You follow me? So I'm going to pull 1 3 out of here and 1 3 out of here. I pull that 3 out and I get left with 3x minus 4. Okay? So 9x minus 12 is 3 times 3x minus 4, which is C. Okay? So I'm going to cross that one off. So let's do 9x minus 36. Well, my factors of 9 are 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. My factors of 36 are 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, and 4 and 36. Okay, so my greatest common factor, no, not 4 and 36, silly goose, 4 and 9. My greatest common factor between those is 9. So I rewrite this as 9 times x minus 9 times 4. Pull those 9s out, and I'm left with x minus 4. Okay, so that's going to be A. And even though we're just left with B, let's double check it and make sure we're right, make sure we didn't screw up somewhere. All right, so we have 6x minus 12. So my factors of 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. And my factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So my greatest common factor between them is 6. So this becomes 6 times x minus 6 times 2. Okay, so when I pull those out, I wind up with 6 equals x minus 2, but that's not one of the choices that I have there, is there? I wonder what they did. Maybe all they did was pull out the 3. So if they rewrote it as 2 times 3 times x minus 3 times 4. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. Let me move it. There we go. And they just pulled out the 3's. Then they wound up with 3 times 2x minus 4. There's our answer right there, because they didn't factor it completely. They factored out some of it, but not all of it. Okay, so that one, my answer is B. Okay? All right, you guys, we're getting there. All right, number 32. Miranda's on her middle school basketball team. She scored 12 points in the first game and P points the second game. If she scored a total of 25 points in both games, write and solve an equation to find the number of points that she scored in the second game. Well, let's go over here. If she scored, we know she scored a total, so we need game 1. Game 1 plus game 2 equals her total, right? So we know in game 1 she scored 12 points. Plus, we don't know what she scored in the second game, but we do know that she scored a total of 25 points. Okay, so how do I isolate this variable? It's the first thing I have to do. I have to get the x by itself. So in order to get the x by itself, I've got to do the inverse of anything that's with it. So this is plus 12, right? So how do I undo addition? I have to subtract it. So I have to subtract 12 from this side and subtract 12 from this side. Okay, those cancel. This leaves me with x equals 25 minus 12 is 13. Okay, so we need to go find, all right, so we know it's not this one because this one has us an answer of 12, so I know it's not that one. So this says 12 times P equals 15. I don't even know where they got 15, so I'm going to mark that one off. All right, now this was 25 plus P equals 12. But that would mean that's her total. And that would be the points in the second game. So that's not going to be right. So it has to be this one. 12 plus x equals 25. So 12 plus points in the second game equals 25. And then we solved it for 13. That's our answer right there. Okay? All right, number 33. Last week, Marcus had a balance of negative $10 in his account. This week, his balance was $10. Which equation could show the change in his account? Well, let's see. He started, so let's see. If we have our start plus our change, it's going to equal our end, right? So his start was negative 10. We'll say plus C for change, and that equals, at the end, he had $10. Okay, so negative 10 plus C equals 10. Negative 10 plus C equals 10. So negative 10 plus C equals 10. It has to be A. When you write out that word equation and then plug in your numbers, it helps so much to figure it out. Okay? All right, number 34. Oh no, there's a fraction. Don't freak out and don't overthink it. All right? Let's rewrite this one. I have 1/2 x plus 6 equals 11. Okay? So I have to get the term with the variable by itself. So I have to get 1/2 x all by itself. Okay? So in order to do that, I have to get rid of the 6. Okay? So in order to get rid of the 6, I have to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation so I stay in balance. So now I have 1/2 of x equals, well, 11 minus 6 is 5. Okay? Half of x means x divided by 2. So dividing by 2, so in order to undo division, I have to multiply. So instead of dividing by 2, I'm going to multiply by 2. And if I multiply this side by 2, I have to multiply this side by 2. And that leaves me with x equals 10. Okay? All right, so we have this one here. 5 minus x equals negative 3. Okay? We could do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. Okay? First thing I want to do is subtract 5 from both sides. Okay? That leaves me with negative x equals negative 8. Okay? Negative x, that means the opposite of x. Okay? If I need to make this positive, I can multiply this whole thing by negative 1. If I multiply this side by negative 1, I have to multiply this side by negative 1. Because negative times a negative is a positive, so negative 1 times negative x is going to give me x equals negative 8 times negative 1. That gives me a positive 8. So my answer is D. Always remember, negative x means the opposite of x. So if this is negative and this is negative, then my answer is going to be positive. Okay? All right, 36. 1/5 of x plus 2 is 17. So if I have 1/5 x plus 2 equals 17. Well, the first thing I have to do is get rid of that 2. So I wind up with 1/5 x equals 15. Okay, so this is x divided by 5, so I'm going to multiply by 5 on this side and multiply by 5 on this side, and 15 times 5 is 75, so x equals 75. And I can check that by plugging it in here. If I say 75 divided by 5 equals 15 plus 2, that gives me 17. So I know that that is correct. Okay, I'm going to grab a piece of notebook paper to do number 37. All right, let's do number 37 on a piece of notebook paper. So number 37. This says to solve for x, I have 3 times 11x minus 15 equals negative 177. Okay? Well, the first thing I have to do is I have to use my distributive property, and I have to give this 3 to everything inside the parentheses. Okay? So this becomes 3 times 11x, which gives me 33x, minus 3 times 15 is 45, equals negative 177. So now I have to get this by itself, right? I have to get the 33x by itself. So to do that, I have to add 45 to this side and add 45 to this side. That leaves me with 33x on this side of the equation. These cancel out because they're a 0 pair. And then I have negative 177 plus 45 equals 132. Negative 132. And then I have to divide both sides by 33. Divide by 33. Divide by 33. And I get negative 4. So x equals negative 4. Okay? So my answer to this one is x equals negative 4. All right, 3 more. We're almost done, guys. Number 38. The Martins have to have a plumber come to fix their kitchen sink. The plumber charged $75 an hour for work, plus an additional service call fee of $75. How much was the Martins' bill if the plumber worked for 2 hours? All right, so number 38. So I know so the plumber's coming, he charges an hourly rate. He charges an hourly rate plus a service fee. And that's going to equal my total. Okay? So his hourly rate is $75 per hour. Plus his service fee of $50, and that'll give me my total. Okay, so if he works $75 an hour times 2 hours plus the $50 service fee, how much is that? Well, I know that 75 times 2 is 150. 150 plus 50, that's going to give me a $200 total bill. Okay? Their total bill was $200. All right. Number 39. Greg paid $21 at the bowling alley for an afternoon of bowling. He paid $7.50 for shoe rental and $2.50 per game bowled. How many games did he bowl? All right. So let's look at this. What do I know? I know he paid $21 was his total. He paid $7.50 for shoe rental. And he paid $2.25 per game. Okay? And it wants to know how many games. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Well, when I go to the bowling alley, I know I have to pay for my shoes, plus my games, and that's going to equal my total. Okay? So in this case, I know what shoe rental was. It was $7.50 plus he paid $2.25 for each game times the number of games that he played, and all that together is going to give me my $21. So this is $7.50 plus 2.25 G equals 21. So I have to get this by itself. So in order to do that, I have to subtract $7.50 from this side, and then subtract $7.50 from this side, and I wind up with 2.25 G equals 21 minus 750, 1350. Okay, and now to figure out how many games he bowled, I have to divide that 1350 by how much he pays per game, which is $2.25, which will tell me how many games he bowled. So 1350 divided by 2.25 equals 6. So he bowled 6 games. How many games did Greg bowl? 6 games. All right, last one. What's another way to express the following equation? Woo! All right, we're going to write this one out too. All right, let's see. Let's do this so you can see my paper a bit better. There we go. All right, so number 40. So I have the equation negative 6 times 5x minus 3, and that all equals 8. Whew. All right, so I need to use distributive property. That's the first place I got to start. So negative 6 times 5x gives me negative 30x, and negative 6 times negative 3 gives me plus 18, and that equals 8. All right, so I need to go up here. Does that match anything that I've got yet? Nope. All right, so negative 30x. I need to get this by itself. So I'm going to subtract 18 from this side and subtract 18 from this side, and I wind up with negative 30x equals negative 10. And then I divide both sides by negative 30. And I wind up with x equals 1/3. Okay. So let's go back up here to what we've got. So if I come back up here, negative 30x equals 26. Nope, I don't have that anywhere. Negative 3x equals 11. Nope, don't have that anywhere. Negative 30x minus equals 5. Nope. Negative 30x equals negative 10. Ha-ha. Ha-ha. Right there. Okay? So I know another way for this equation is here. When they give you a question like this, just go ahead and work the whole problem out, and then just go find anything that matches. Okay? Alrighty guys, make sure you're watching and taking notes of what you need help with, and we will go over all of this on Friday.